They made us laugh, cry, and rush home to spend 30 minutes with them. The 1980s gave us some of television's most beloved faces, the kind of stars who felt like family members showing up in our living rooms every week. But behind the laugh tracks and neon backdrops, some of our favorite 80s TV faces met heartbreakingly early ends. We're talking about the performers who defined a decade of television, only to have their stories cut tragically short. One of them died in a tragedy so shocking it changed Hollywood forever, leading to laws that protect celebrities to this day. And our number one story? It's about a sweet kid from one of the decade's biggest sitcoms whose real-life struggles were the complete opposite of her on-screen family's success. Get ready for some bittersweet nostalgia. These stories will surprise even longtime fans and remind you why these stars meant so much to all of us. Coming in at number 10, Andrew Koenig.
Yes. Mom!
I don't believe what I'm hearing, Carol. I thought you had more sense to get into a car with a guy like that.
Andrew Koenig played Boner Staybone, Mike Seaver's lovably dim-witted best friend in Growing Pains. He was the perfect sidekick. Goofy, loyal, and always ready with a malapropism that would make the studio audience crack up. Andrew brought genuine sweetness to what could have been just another dumb friend character. The star of Star Trek's Walter Koenig, Andrew seemed destined for a solid career in Hollywood. He had that everyman charm that made him instantly likable, and his chemistry with Kirk Cameron made their friendship feel real and lived in. But behind the laughs, Andrew struggled with depression throughout his adult life, something his Growing Pains family wasn't aware of until much later. He continued acting in smaller roles in independent films after the show ended, but never found another breakout success. Sadly, in February 2010, Andrew went missing during a trip to Vancouver. After a week-long search involving fans and fellow actors, he was found to have died by suicide at age 41. His father, Walter, later said Andrew had been quietly battling depression for years. Andrew's passing opened important conversations about mental health in Hollywood, and reminded everyone that the funniest people are often fighting the hardest battles behind the scenes. At number 9, Gary Coleman.
Aunt Louise, you're even more beautiful than your pictures. Sir, I'm turning you into toothpicks with my Zowie Zack gun.
What you talking about, Willis? Gary Coleman delivered TV's most iconic catchphrase and became one of the biggest child stars of the early 80s. At just 10 years old, he had impeccable comedic timing and a natural charisma that made Arnold Jackson absolutely irresistible. Different strokes made Gary a household name and one of the highest-paid child actors in television history. His pint-sized energy and adult-level wit made him a talk show favorite and cultural phenomenon. But Gary's small stature was caused by a congenital kidney condition that required multiple transplants throughout his life. He was essentially fighting for his life while maintaining a demanding television schedule. Financial mismanagement, legal battles with his parents and former managers, and ongoing health issues plagued Gary's adult years. The kid who had made millions found himself struggling financially and personally. The same industry that brought him success also brought him struggles that he battled to overcome. In 2010, Gary died at just 42 years old from a brain hemorrhage following a fall at his Utah home. The circumstances surrounding his death, including tensions with his wife, added additional tragedy and drama to an already heartbreaking story. Despite his struggles, Gary remains a beloved figure whose talent and charisma defined an era of family television. Number 8 is Malcolm Jamal Warner. If you grew up in the 80s, Theo Huxtable wasn't just a TV character. He was basically your cool big brother who occasionally borrowed your Walkman without asking. Malcolm Jamal Warner brought a mix of quick wit, warmth, and teenage charm that made The Cosby Show one of the most relatable family sitcoms of the decade. But Theo was just the beginning. Warner carved out a multi-decade career that stretched far beyond Brooklyn's brownstones, co-starring in Malcolm and Eddie, reoccurring on Suits and The Resident, lending his voice to the Magic School Bus, and even earning a Grammy for his spoken word work. On July 20th, 2025, Warner died at the age of 54 in a drowning accident while vacationing in Costa Rica. His beloved 8-year-old daughter was safely on shore, but the news stunned Hollywood and fans alike. Tributes poured in from Angela Bassett, Tracee Ellis Ross, Keisha Knight Pulliam, and countless others, all remembering him as an artist, a gentleman, and a friend who carried his success with quiet grace. For a generation, Malcolm Jamal Warner will always be Theo, the guy who could make you laugh, make you think, and make you feel part of the family. Sliding into number 7, Jon-Erik Hexum.
Came out here, I went to start in New York, was there for 8 months, and just went to auditions all the time. And then came out here.
Jon-Erik Hexum had everything Hollywood dreams are made of. Movie star looks, natural charisma, and the kind of screen presence that made casting directors take notice. He starred as Mac Harper in CBS's Cover Up, playing a fashion photographer who was secretly a government agent. The show paired him with Jennifer O'Neill, and their chemistry was electric. Jon-Erik had that rare combination of action hero physicality and leading man charm that seemed destined for major stardom. He was essentially a young Pierce Brosnan type, ready to become the next big action star. On October 12, 1984, during a break in filming, Jon-Erik was playing with a prop gun loaded with blanks. Thinking it was harmless, he held it to his temple and pulled the trigger as a joke. The force of the blank cartridge fractured his skull and caused massive brain damage. Jon-Erik was declared brain dead 6 days later at age 26. He became an organ donor and his heart was transplanted into a 36-year-old man who lived for several more years. His death led to much stricter safety protocols on television and film sets regarding prop weapons. It was a wake-up call that harmless props could still be deadly, and his tragedy likely prevented similar accidents. Coming in at number 6, Michael Landon.
Right now I'm pumping my red cell count up. My red cell count had dumped, but
Michael Landon was America's dad throughout the 70s and 80s, first as Charles Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie, and then as Jonathan Smith on Highway to Heaven. He embodied everything audiences wanted in a television father. Wise, kind, strong, and always ready with a life lesson that actually made sense. Beyond acting, Michael was a talented writer, director, and producer who had creative control over his projects. He understood how to tell stories that resonated with families, and his shows consistently topped the ratings while maintaining genuine heart and moral center. In 1991, Michael announced he had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. In typical Michael Landon fashion, he faced his illness with grace, honesty, and remarkable courage, speaking openly about his condition in interviews. True to character, Michael used his diagnosis as a teaching moment, encouraging early detection and showing the world how to face terminal illness with dignity. He continued working on projects even as his health declined. Michael died on July 1, 1991, at age 54, just 3 months after his diagnosis. His death felt like losing a family member to millions of viewers who had grown up watching his shows. Michael's courage in his final days inspired countless people facing similar battles, and his television work continues to provide comfort and moral guidance to new generations. These stories are hitting pretty hard, aren't they? Hit that subscribe button if you're remembering why these stars meant so much to us, and drop a comment sharing your favorite memory of any of these performers. At number 5, Brandon Lee.
And then for some reason, I weren't around to take care of my child.
Brandon Lee was destined for stardom from birth as the son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, but he was determined to forge his own path. Before breaking into feature films, Brandon appeared in several late 80s TV movies and made-for-TV productions, showing he had inherited his father's physical prowess and screen magnetism. Brandon had that rare combination of martial arts skill and natural acting ability. He was incredibly athletic like his father, but also had a vulnerability and humor that made him more relatable. His early TV work showed he was ready to become a major action star. By the early 90s, Brandon was transitioning successfully into feature films. The Crow was supposed to be his breakthrough role, a dark, stylish action film that would establish him as a leading man in his own right. On March 31, 1993, during filming of The Crow, a prop gun that should have been loaded with blanks accidentally contained a real bullet fragment. Brandon was shot and killed at age 28, just weeks before the film's completion. Oddly, Brandon's death at 28 mirrored his father Bruce's mysterious death at 32, leading to speculation about a family curse. In reality, both deaths were tragic accidents that robbed the world of incredible talent. The Crow was completed using special effects and body doubles, becoming a cult classic and a tribute to Brandon's talent. His death led to even stricter safety protocols for prop weapons in Hollywood. Although, considering the events on set of Alec Baldwin's movie Rust, these are not foolproof. Number 4 brings us Andy Kaufman.
Now, last but not to be the least, I would like to imitate.
Andy Kaufman was comedy's ultimate enigma, a performance artist who happened to work in television. As Laka Gravis on Taxi, he created one of TV's most bizarre and memorable characters, a sweet childlike mechanic from an unnamed foreign country who spoke in an indecipherable accent. Andy's approach to comedy was unlike anyone else's. He didn't tell jokes, he created experiences. Whether he was Laka on Taxi or wrestling women on late-night talk shows, Andy blurred the lines between performance and reality in ways that were ahead of their time. His real passion was pushing the boundaries of what entertainment could be. He'd do things like read The Great Gatsby in its entirety to confuse audiences or create elaborate hoaxes that left people unsure what was real. In late 1983, Andy was diagnosed with a rare form of lung cancer. True to form, many people thought it was another elaborate prank. Andy had conditioned audiences to never quite believe anything he did. Sadly, it was true. Andy died on May 16, 1984 at age 35. Even then, some fans refused to believe he was really gone, convinced it was his ultimate performance art piece. The confusion was very Andy Kaufman. Andy's experimental approach to comedy influenced generations of alternative comedians and performance artists. His willingness to make audiences uncomfortable in service of art was revolutionary. At number 3, Rebecca Schaeffer.
I want to do everything though.
And why not?
Why not? Who cares?
Rebecca Schaeffer was the definition of a rising star, a former teen model who had successfully transitioned to acting and was building a promising television career. As Patricia Russell on CBS's My Sister Sam, she showed natural comedic timing and a warm screen presence that made her instantly likable. The show paired Rebecca with Pam Dauber in a sweet sitcom about sisters living together in San Francisco. Rebecca's character was the free-spirited younger sister, and she brought genuine charm and energy to the role. She seemed destined for a long, successful career in entertainment. Unbeknownst to Rebecca, a fan named Robert John Bardo had become obsessed with her after seeing her on My Sister Sam. When she appeared in a bedroom scene in a film, his obsession turned to rage, and he decided she had to be punished for being impure. On July 18, 1989, Bardo traveled to Los Angeles, found Rebecca's address through a private investigator, and went to her apartment. When she answered the door, he shot and killed her. She was just 21 years old. Rebecca's murder shocked Hollywood and the nation. It was a wake-up call about celebrity stalking and the dangers of obsessed fans. Her death directly led to the creation of the first anti-stalking laws in California and eventually nationwide. Rebecca's family's advocacy work has helped protect countless other potential victims of stalking. Number 2 is John Ritter.
But this rebate offer only lasts for a couple more days,
Jimmy, I
so
wanna leave.
if I were you, I'd consider.
I guess we're not interested right now, Mr. Hexum.
Paul.
John Ritter was physical comedy perfection, a master of slapstick who could make falling down an art form. As Jack Tripper on Three's Company, he brought genuine warmth and impeccable timing to what could have been just another goofy sitcom character. John's gift was making physical comedy look effortless while never sacrificing the character's heart. Jack Tripper was lovable because John made him lovable. The physical gags were just icing on the cake of a fully realized three-dimensional character. After Three's Company, John successfully transitioned to other shows like Hooperman and Hearts of Fire, proving his talent went beyond just physical comedy. He was also building a film career and seemed to be hitting his stride as a mature performer. In 2003, John was starring in 8 Simple Rules as another TV dad, showing he could still anchor a family sitcom while bringing new depth to the role. The show was a hit and John was enjoying a career renaissance. On September 11, 2003, John suddenly collapsed on the set of 8 Simple Rules. He was rushed to the hospital but died that evening from aortic dissection at age 54. The entertainment world was stunned. He had seemed perfectly healthy. John's death felt like losing a family member to millions of viewers. His combination of physical comedy genius and genuine warmth had made him one of TV's most beloved performers. And finally, at number 1, Dana Plato.
The shoot was a 5-day shoot in Arizona, and it is very difficult because it's very uncomfortable. We're talking a cramp every minute, and you gotta...
Dana Plato was the sweet, responsible big sister on Different Strokes, playing Kimberly Drummond with a warmth and maturity that made her the heart of the Drummond family. She was beautiful, talented, and seemed to have everything going for her during the show's peak years. As the only girl in a male-dominated cast, Dana brought a different energy to Different Strokes. While Gary Coleman got the laughs and Todd Bridges handled the dramatic storylines, Dana was often the emotional center, the character who held the family together. As Different Strokes ended, Dana found it difficult to transition to adult roles. She was typecast as the wholesome TV daughter, and Hollywood didn't seem to know what to do with her as she grew up. Desperate for work and struggling financially, Dana began taking roles in B-movies and eventually posed for Playboy in 1989. This decision further hurt her mainstream career prospects and added to her personal struggles. In 1991, Dana robbed a video store in Las Vegas while high on drugs. The image of the former Different Strokes star in a mugshot was heartbreaking and became a symbol of child star tragedy. Despite attempts at recovery and comeback efforts, Dana continued struggling with addiction and depression. On May 8, 1999, she died of a drug overdose at age 34, leaving behind a 14-year-old son. Dana's death completed the tragic trifecta of Different Strokes stars dying young, following Gary Coleman's later death and Todd Bridges' ongoing struggles. Her story became a cautionary tale about child stardom and the lack of support systems for young performers. And there you have it, 10 beloved faces from 1980s television who left us far too soon. What strikes you about these stories isn't just the tragedy, but how much these performers meant to all of us. They weren't just actors, they were family members who showed up in our living rooms every week. They may be gone, but their smiles, laughs, and tomfoolery live on forever in reruns and in our memories. These performers gave us joy, laughter, and comfort when we needed it most. Which of these stars was your favorite, and which 80s icon should we cover next? Share your memories in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more trips back to when television felt like family.